Hello, my name's Tiana Smith. I'm married to Isaiah Smith, and I also work with the kids in the children's church. So you should probably see me running around with those kids all the time. And I'm 30 years old. Okay, so my life before Jesus was chaotic in every sense of the word. From ages 17 to about 27, 28, I was a substance abuser. My drug of choice was opiates. But really, any substance would do. Anything that would make me feel high, or in my mind, would make me feel normal, right. I didn't think that I could be myself without drugs. And I actually, at points, thought that I was a better person on drugs. Despite growing up in the church, I believed in God during my addiction the whole time. I would think to myself, like, God could save me from this. Many of those 12 years, I would have those thoughts like, I could be saved with God, but I won't do it. Okay, so I lived this life of addiction and sin for a long, long time until I was about 27, 28. I started dating Isaiah. Isaiah and his family are so in love with Christ. And they're very much great mentors, great followers of Christ that I was around all the time. And I started wanting to be more like them. I didn't want to live this double life of having to hide when I'm going to get my fixes or trying to hide when I'm going through withdrawal. I wanted to be open and live life more freely and in belief like they do. And so I would ask Isaiah, at the beginning I would ask Isaiah to pray for me all the time. And finally he was like, you could pray for yourself, right? You can pray for strength and healing. You could talk to God yourself. And at the time I was like, I don't feel like he wants to listen to me. I think that he'll listen to you more, kind of childishly being like, they won't tell me yes, But finally I did start like praying for myself, being more and more around his family. They're so full of faith and of love. And I would start talking to them about, stuff in the Bible, trying to understand more, especially about a lot of the things that I went through when I was in addiction. I started trying to speak to Jesus myself, telling him like, I need your healing. I need you in my life to get past this. You're the only way. And I would say the genuine turning point is the day that I moved to Hawaii. That's the day that I was like, God, I'm putting my life in your hands. I'm going to have to deal with a couple months of withdrawal, which I did. I'm going to have to be strong. We don't have family out in Hawaii. I'm gonna have to find a church, a strong support system around me. And he supplied all of those things. When I put it in his hands, when I said, God, please help me, he was like, all right, that's all you had to do. From the beginning, those 12 years, that's all I had to do. And I finally did it, and he turned it all around in that moment. I went to the beach by myself one day, and I met a member of Connections Church with their family. They invited me. And you know what? In that moment, I decided, I'm gonna go. I'm not going to think in worldly Tiana ways. Worldly Tiana would have been like, oh yes, sure. I wouldn't have gone before, but I was gonna put myself out there. And I've been going ever since. Literally that first time, I've been putting myself in more opportunities to study, women's Bible studies, events. I love to serve now. And just in putting myself out there and listening, being obedient to God, I started really understanding the answers I was looking for. Jesus made the hugest sacrifice for us. It's so crazy to wrap your head around that somebody without sin chose to die for us and take all of that sin onto him so that we could have a chance at a second life. And I'm really living that, because my life, even just 5 years ago, is so incredibly different to how I'm living now. So if I were to die today, I know that I would go to heaven. There's no way that I lived through all these 12 years of addiction, of shame, of stealing, of not valuing myself, to finally give it to God, and he lifted me out of it so easily, changed my life within weeks so incredibly. He's going to keep that promise that, we get that eternal life when we dedicate our lives to him. He did all these crazy changes in just this short time for my life. When I finally lived for him, yeah, we have an afterlife.